Great. So, hi, and thank you for joining us for our second Dragon Thunder. I'm Barbara. I'm known as the East Coast Dragon Lady, and tonight we have a guest. Dr. Lisa Thompson is joining us, so we can actually talk about all things Galactic and Dragon. So let me give a brief introduction to Lisa, because she has a list of things. So Dr. Lisa Thompson is, all these things I had set up. Oh, here we go. So she's a best-selling author, speaker, galactic ambassador, a channeler, an intuitive transformational coach. And she does parallel life regression, human design, sound healing, podcast host, Big Island UFO, spiritual retreats, and online classes. And I want also, I've got it all here. I've just said I pulled some cards beforehand. So she's also author of a book, Connecting to the Cosmos, and a deck of, not that I've got everything that Lisa's done, but Connecting to the Cosmos, and her new deck, her new Oracle deck. So if you've been watching my the last week, 2 weeks, I've been pulling cards from this latest one, which is the Wisdom of the Galactics. And you've just started printing T-shirts, which I'm waiting for mine to come. So
on its way.
A lot to the end. So what I also wanted to say, so I did get my ETs. So I actually, Lisa sent me one of these, and I think I bought one of these. But what was interesting was, before I came on, I pulled a couple of Lisa's cards, and I got 2 Palladian. One is the Palladian Growth and the Palladian Compassion. And my question was about Maui, but we decided we're not talking about Maui tonight. Lisa is on the Big Island in Hawaii. So I will hand over to Lisa. If you have questions, please either drop them in the, so we've got the hand raised here, or also drop your questions in the chat. And I know Tammy will be looking, and I'll be looking as well. So I will hand it over to Lisa.
Okay, well, I have a lot that we could talk about, but I'm curious what people are interested in knowing about galactics. But I guess I'll start with my dragon journey, since this is Dragon Hour, right? My mother was obsessed with dragons from the time I was born, moving forward. And so we had dragons in our house all around us. This dragon necklace I'm wearing, my mother gave me, my dragon bracelet. So she has always been a dragon lady. And I never really thought of myself as a dragon person until 2017. And that's when I met my own personal dragon. And so, of course, my mother being a dragon person, it makes sense that then I would naturally be a dragon person as well. So in 2017, I had the opportunity to go to a Celebrate Your Life event, the International Women's Summit. And that's where I met some of my mentors and teachers, including Denise Lynn, Sunny Don Johnston, and Colette Barron-Reed. And it was in Colette's breakout session. She led us through a journey to basically, it was get on the back of your flying bird, and whatever bird or whatever flying animal was going to come to you, it was something going to pull you out of whatever traumatic emotions you might be experiencing, where you could see it from a higher perspective. And so, she had said generally bird, but I didn't have a bird come. I had a dragon come. And so here this dragon's coming to me. I'm getting on its back. I'm flying above these emotions that I'm feeling, the environment of those emotions, and seeing it from that higher perspective, understanding it, and feeling truly that self-power. And when, the whole audience, I don't even know how many people, there were a few hundred people in the audience. And so after the journey, she depending on what kind of bird or animal, flying animal you had, it represented different things. And so, some people had eagles or hummingbirds, and so she was sharing some of that information, but no one stood up and said, well, I have a dragon, and I didn't raise my hand or anything. But what I did was I looked up what the spiritual meaning of dragon was, and it was self-power. And that made sense to me that I would have this dragon that would help get me out of my own way, essentially. And so, so that's when I started working really consciously with the dragon energy. But what I realized is that in my astral travels, in my dream state, I was always working with the dragons and the galactics. And a lot of us are. So everyone who's here watching this has some kind of dragon or dragon team. And so then fast forward to a couple of years ago, I got to understand this energy with the dragons even more, where I was taken through an ascension regression session with my friend Tracy. And so, because even though as a past life regression therapist, parallel life regression therapist, I like having other people help me get to my answers as well. Just like that, even though I'm a coach, I always have coaches. And so what came out of that session was that I actually travel with my dragons all the time to inner earth. That's one of the ways that I work with the dragons, because I have this direct connection with the Agarthans, the inner earth people. And I am here on the Big Island of Hawaii. And what we discovered in that session is that there is a direct tunnel link for inner earth between the Big Island and Mount Shasta. And so that was something very interesting. And so how I get to that realm, and this is more of an astral realm kind of experience, is on the back of my dragon. The other thing that came forward in that session was that I'm a dragon keeper, and I'm in a hypnotic state, and she's asking me these questions, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a dragon keeper. And then when she asked how many I have 444 dragons that I oversee, and they are primarily volcano dragons, which makes total sense of me being here in Hawaii on the Big Island with the most active volcano in the world. Now, where I come from before this, though, is Washington State, near Mount Rainier. And so the Cascade Mountains are dormant and active volcanoes, just like Hawaii. So my dragons, now I realize, are living inside of these mountains, these volcanic mountains. And so one of the things also that I just want to throw out there that I thought was interesting. So Barbara, I know you love Diana Cooper's Dragon Oracle deck, and I love this one too. And one of the things she says in her intro is that our personal dragon tends to be whatever element of astrological sign we are, right? I'm a Sagittarius, I'm fire. So it makes total sense that my dragons would be volcano fire dragons. And so anyway, so that's how I work with the dragons, and it's conscious when I need to get out of any kind of emotional stuff, but then it's more in, again, the astral realm where I don't even know that I'm going to these places. But part of this session, what came out of that is that all of these dragons that I have is to help release the pressure of Earth. So when I activate the dragons, it helps release that Earth pressure. And what that does is it releases the fear here on Earth. And one of the things that I know of my purpose, my mission of being here, whether it's in the galactic realm or even with the dragon realm, is to change the fear-based narrative that is pervasive on our planet. And so what I understand from my ET groups and from quantum mechanics is all timelines exist simultaneously. So we get to choose what timeline we're focusing on, what we're living in. And so understanding that here, not only with my galactic team, but also with my earth-based dragon team, really changing that fear and releasing the fear so that we can mutate that. Because that's what the fire dragons are all about. They're burning away the fear, burning away that inner turmoil that we have, getting rid of the shadows so that we can fully see who we are and emerge into who we are. And so it's just interesting putting these pieces together of dragons and galactics. And of course, we do have galactic dragons as well. But I am an earth human, and I have quite a few earth-based dragons in addition to that. So dragons have been throughout every culture on Earth. And it's interesting when we look at the history of dragons and people's experiences with them, because in the Eastern cultures, they're all about like life and power, and they have a really beautiful representation. But then when we get into more of the medieval dark ages, they're demonic monsters that are meant to be slain. And when we think about Lord of the Rings and Gandalf facing the dragon, really he's facing his own inner stuff and transmuting that. So I think, again, with the representation, if we can look at it now in a modern day time, really dragon energy can be used in so many different ways. And so it really can help us face those inner demons that we all have, because ultimately we are our own entity here. Like nothing is outside of us. And so when we are then able to transmute that, then that dragon energy can pull us into higher realms, other dimensions, and really like help Mother Gaia, help the cosmic realm and all of that. So I would love, that's my little intro about dragons. So Barbara, is there something that you would like me to speak on, or does anyone have any questions about any of that?
Well, what I think is interesting is that you just took, so I've mentioned this in some of my reels and some of my stuff, but I actually took Lisa's 12-week class of Introduction to the Galactics or Connecting to whatever it was. And when I went to Inner Earth was where my galactic dragons showed up, and I had a very similar experience. And actually, I just actually did a video on the message I got from the dragon elders that actually are meeting with me in Inner Earth. So I think that what we've learned, what I'm beginning to learn, is that we all have very similar experiences in different ways or in different places. But the Agarthians are also somebody that I'm working with as well now. And I went on some fabulous journeys. I mean, even the ones that not sure we wanted to meet. It was fabulous. It was 12 weeks we did with you.
Actually, you did the 13 weeks.
I did the 13, yeah, the Blue Avians as well. And you've now got it, it's recorded, so people can actually buy that. Yeah. And that's actually where the deck came from, right? The Oracle deck came from that.
It is. And there's a book that's almost finished now from that.
Yes. Yeah. Because I had so many questions about where can I find that information if I need it again?
Yeah.
But yes. So I can't think of it, but I'm sure people have questions for you. But I think there's so many stories that I know you could tell us, but I think maybe some things about how you learned about the Galactics and you're working with them, because you are the Galactic ambassador.
Well, and one thing that I guess I want to start with the reptilian group, because that is ultimately in the broad category of who the dragons fit in with, right? And so there are so many stories and judgments about reptilians, draconians, dragons that people are putting on to these different groups. And So I guess one of the first things that I want to address, number one, is that there are different groups that are residing in different dimensional reality, different frequencies. And